Good afternoon, everybody on Facebook. It's Charlotte Thornton here with another Monday's Mindset Mini Masterclass. So, today I want to talk about power, and of course, giving away my age, I've got the power in my head as I was planning this. But yeah, it's something that came up in a workshop I did where I was talking about the power pose, which I will talk again about at the end of this for anyone who doesn't know about the power pose, and talking about this idea that power can be this really beautiful, kind thing. That we've kind of got it into our heads that power is like a dirty word because we see people abuse power or get corrupted by power out there in the big world, and so we think, oh, that's what power is. I want to kind of stay clear of that. And I just want to be really clear that we are all powerful, and actually the danger is thinking that we are not powerful. Because when we believe we are not powerful, firstly, it means that the only people cleverly and strategically using their power are not doing it for good. They're not the kind people like us. But also, there's a real danger when we think we are powerless because we both step into victim. Yeah, well, what can I do? I'm not, I haven't got any power. But also, we step away from being responsible, which means that we can, by accident, impact people negatively because we don't think we have impact. So, in order for us to really actually be powerful in a kind of way, we have to recognize that we all have power. And I want you to think about that. And I'm going to use some other words so that we don't sort of think about it as in superheroes or sort of evil politicians. So let's think about having agency, having sovereignty, taking responsibility. I think I had another word. Having purpose and having impact. So, like I said, if we don't think we have power, we don't think we can impact anything, we are not only a victim, but we are doing things that actually do have impact, but we are oblivious. So, instead of them being things that could be positive, often by having no intention to them, they can be accidentally negative. So that's why I think it's really, really important that we all step into our power. And I know it's an overused thing, this idea of empowerment and give people empowerment. But I know from having had conversations with people that we've started to think it's a dirty word and therefore sort of don't talk about it. And anyone who knows or was brought up in a family where money is a dirty word and you don't talk about that will know that you end up with money problems. Yeah. So if we don't talk about power, if we think it's a dirty word, we will end up having empowerment problems, i.e., with it maybe being in the wrong people's hands instead of all of us recognizing that we all have a level of impact and agency. So, like I said, we really want to avoid it. Sort of step one of personal development is responsibility, understanding that we can choose our response. And that's again to do with a power that no one can take away. I'm trying to think of his name now. Someone will remind me. Stephen Covey talks a lot in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People about, I think he was a psychologist in Nazi Germany who talked about the one thing that they couldn't take away, even though they imprisoned obviously loads of Jews in horrendous conditions. They couldn't take away his ability to choose his response. I know you guys have read this, so someone put in the comments who was it who said that? It's totally escaped me because I forgot I was going to talk about it. So we have this amazing thing which is our ability to respond. But all your actions are in your power. Your thoughts more and more can become in your power if you do the work. Yeah, the things you say are in your power. Whether you encourage somebody or put someone down or just don't say anything, that is you having impact, having power all the time, 24/7. So first we want to just move out of the victim space. Yeah, because it's really negative and it really holds us back and it's not completely true. So, of course, there may be experiences that we may all have where in that experience, in that moment, we feel powerless, right? When you're a child, there's an element of sort of feeling powerless. But it's really important to not carry that on into adulthood, but also to understand that whilst you may have had powerless experiences, that's a very big difference to you not being powerless. So it's the difference between an experience and who I am. So when we say I am, thank you, Viktor Frankl. Thank you, Joel. Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. Thank you. What an inspiration. So both Joel and Viktor Frankl, of course. Yes. So this is our ultimate, no one can take away this inside ourselves. So Yeah, so we just want to recognize that taking responsibility can feel uncomfortable, but it gives us power. And separating the experience with the I am. When you say I am, it's a really powerful affirmation. And we do it far too frequently with labels that aren't who we are, but just experiences we are having. So, thank you. Yeah, Joel. As soon as you said it, I remembered man's search for meaning. So, I could have a powerless moment, but I am not powerless. Yeah? I could experience anxiety, but I am not anxiety. I could experience fear, but I am not fear. Yeah. So I just want you all to just check in and see how comfortable you feel with even believing that you are powerful. But I just wanted to draw our attention to the dangers in thinking we're powerless. And it came up, like I said, firstly in talking about the power pose, which I'll quickly tell you now in case you haven't been in one of my workshops or it hasn't come up through something else. Amy Cuddy has a TED talk on the power of your body language, how changing our physical shape, I think there's one like that and there's one like that, changes your biological state. We know that everything is connected, thoughts, body, mind, emotions, everything's in a loop. So we can reduce cortisol, stress hormone, increase testosterone, which is good for sort of confidence, creativity, by doing the power pose for 2 minutes before auditions, awkward phone calls, that kind of thing. So it's one of those things that got brought up, this conversation of power. I've also had other chats with people and I've talked about setting goals, not in a mentoring context, but out in the real world. And people go, oh, there's no point setting New Year's resolutions because no one ever does them, no one ever achieves them. And I'm thinking some people do. I mean, not all of them, obviously. Who hasn't set a goal to sort of start a diary or lose weight and not done it at 100%? But this idea that, well, no one achieves any of them ever. No, there's lots of people setting goals and missions and doing them all the time. So I don't really know if it's the belief that creates the experience or the experience creates the belief. I'm sure it's a loop. So if you're in any of that belief and experience loop, see what happens if you change the belief and see if the experiences change as a consequence. So feel empowered. You have power. You have power. Don't be told that you don't have power, and don't be giving it away, and don't be denying it, because then accidentally it can come out in this negative, powerful way where you don't realize you're having a negative impact when you could be having a hugely positive impact, both on your own success and your own goals, but out obviously in the wider world where we have a responsibility as well as citizens, as a community, as family members to, create a better world. So I hope that's not too big, but I think for the kind of people that are following this, nothing's too big, right? Big, audacious, hairy goals. If we want to go for world peace, we'll go for world peace. But it starts with us all individually, getting grounded, getting centered, understanding that we have power, not being afraid of that, and seeing how we can use it positively for good, for kindness, for ourselves and for others. Cool. I will put a link to the TED Talk of Amy Cuddy's in the comments of this shortly, for anyone who hasn't checked that out yet. But yes, my powerful people, you have impact, you have agency, you have sovereignty, and I wish you a happy week. Cheers, guys. Bye.